What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy Chris Kane. Let's talk about the Dolphins. We're going to start the show. Before we even get into the game that just happened, we officially, finally, have hit 2,000 subscribers, man. I just want to get that out the way off the rip. Thank y'all for supporting and being here along this journey. We started in the off season and we just got into the regular season. We're already at 2K. I wanted to get there by week one. Hey, life happens when it happens. I'm super appreciative, man. We're going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep bringing you these contents, keep trying to upgrade it and make it better and better, make it longer episodes, more things for the Patreon channel, all that good stuff. Thoroughly appreciate it, man. Thank y'all for everything. Let's keep growing the channel. Let's keep doing it. Now, we're going to talk about this game tonight. There's a lot to peel away from this game. A lot. And I'm going to probably do this over the course of multiple episodes because we have today and tomorrow where we're the only game going on. So, we're going to get all the media attention until Monday. So it's going to be rough. Let's start with the good parts, right? First of all, the team show resolve. We got to say that at the gate. We got to say that. Going into this game, it felt sad. 12.5-point dogs on the road in Buffalo. We know the horrors that go on there. Media circuit was crazy. Tua glazing Josh Allen. We all saw it. It was just like, dude, let's just get this loss over with and get on with our season. Like, that's how it felt going into it. I didn't hear any optimism from really anybody. No one in Miami sideline, no one in the media punditry world. It was just basically, we know this is going to be a bad situation. It's going to get rough. Let's just move on. I will say the team showed up. They showed up enough that they didn't quit on the coach. They didn't quit tonight. They got beat in certain facets, and they definitely beat themselves in certain ways. The team did not quit tonight, which tells me that they haven't given up on the coach. We've seen teams give up. We've seen them give lackluster effort. We've seen them, the game against Kansas City in the playoffs a couple years ago, the team gave up. Full stop. They weren't trying to tackle. They weren't blocking. Tua got discouraged. Tyreek wasn't getting the ball early and often enough, so he kind of checked out. Once he fumbled, he was like, I'm done. Like, it was they gave up in that game. It was like, oh, it's too cold. Can't do it. They didn't give up tonight. They were right there. They were, overmatched in basically every way. Buffalo's offensive line is amazing. Play calling was great. Josh was clean most of the night. Their defense was flying around. We couldn't get anything deep going, and the team didn't quit. Got to give respect for that. In this very short window of preparation, they did their thing, right? Secondly, I've been begging for running the football, begging for it. They finally gave Ollie Gordon more than 2 carries in the game, and he showed, hey, I deserve more carries. There was one play in particular, I think it was in the second, maybe third quarter, where he got the ball and I think a safety came down and hit him in the backfield. And he just bounced off of it and got like another 10 yards. And the commentator was like, man, I don't know the last time I seen a Dolphins running back break a tackle and get positive yardage. And they were like, Ricky Williams? And I was like, bro, what are we talking about? I was like, then it was like Ronnie Brown. I'm like, that's probably more accurate. But either way, that's 12, 15, that's forever ago. To just take contact and be like, I'm good. Not just immediately fall, not fold. He showed he should be playing more. I know Jalen Wright will probably be back for the Jets game, which throws a lot of things up in the air about rotations and that kind of thing. Ali showed me what I was saying the minute we drafted him. He should be playing in this offense. He's got juice. What I saw on the field tonight was more of the Oklahoma State Ali. Good in a short yard. 3rd and 1, we now hand the ball off. What a novel concept. We can give the ball to our running back on 3rd and 1. It's crazy. It's almost like when you have a tough running back and any kind of blocking up front, 1 yard is not that hard. But when you give the ball to your scat back and you don't have blocking up front, and then you end up losing 2 yards on 3rd and 4th and 1, then you start doing tricky stuff like, let's do a fake pitch, turn around, screen pass. I'm like, well, that's dumb. Hand the ball off. Now we got a guy. We bring an extra tight end. It's Ollie Gordon, I formation. He's going to just run the ball. And he can fall forward. That made me so happy. So Devon, I thought, did well running the ball too. There was a number of like 1 and negative yard carries, but that's part of running the ball. As fast as Devon is, you don't break 40-yard runs all the time. You got to commit to the run. I don't think we committed actually enough to the run tonight, but we did more of a commitment, and we typically actually run the ball against Buffalo. That's something that when we decide we want to, Buffalo is willing to give up the run so they can stop the pass. That's kind of the trade off. I was very happy with that. I'm happy to see Tyreek and Waddle both score in the same game. I don't know last time I even saw that. Waddle was clearly laboring. Not he wasn't himself. He gritted it out, made some big catches, obviously scored. Tyreek made some flash plays. He did miss that bomb. I'm gonna say missed the bomb that Tua threw him because he jumped up for the ball like this and he just missed the ball. The DB did not make a good play on the ball. It should have been a reception, but he took I think it was 3rd and 8. He caught a 4-yard pass and just pirouetted and made 8 more yards out of nowhere. Like he made some big time plays, good route running. His touchdown was just a beautiful route. We'll get credit there. The end of the end of the drive, the end of the second half drive. I'm like throwing my words off. The drive to end the second half or the first half, where they kept saying you don't want to give Josh Allen the ball back. Any seconds at all could be bad. And I'm watching the game thinking it got to I think 47 seconds left, and they had one timeout left, and so it was the whole situation of it was second down, 47 seconds left. They had a timeout. So if you run a play, they call a timeout. If you run a second play on third and whatever, if we just ran the ball, got the clock down to 2 seconds, kick a field goal, we know Josh is not getting the ball back. We're going to be down by 4 going into half, 14-10. We're all good. What we did was keep going for it and eventually get a touchdown with like 8 seconds to go in the half. Josh didn't get the ball back like any way to score. It was a long drive, some third and fourth down conversions. That made me happy because that was a in the clutch kind of moment. If you kick a field goal with 42 seconds left and Josh gets the ball back, you can almost guarantee he's getting back in field goal range. Almost guarantee. If not worse than that. And I'm like, dude, now we're down 17-10. Like you can see how that can go sideways for the drive to go the way it went, to get the points, to get a touchdown, and to milk the clock at the same time. Gotta love it. We saw another flash from Bradley Chubb, who got a sack in every game this year, and he's looked like he's rounding back into form a little bit. We appreciate that from Chubb. Got to give you a shout out. I know I've been down on you a little bit because, well, you just didn't play last year, but Chubb is making flash. So there was some good to get into in the game. Got to give love there. Also, Malik Washington has been, I like what he's doing on punt and kick returns. He just gets us consistently in good field position. Obviously, he had a kick return last week, but he just does his job. He'll break a tackle and get 5-6 yards. I saw a couple of punt returns where it could have been a 2-yard punt return, and he'll get 7 or 8. Like he's good at that role. I like seeing him on the field. Now you're wondering, hey, you saying a lot of good stuff, Chris. You wasted 6 minutes talking about good. What went wrong? Well, a number of things. First of all, the secondary, once again, not really up to par. It just, as soon as James Marshall got hurt, I was like, oh boy. Because we're already down. They put the graphic up of all the secondary people that have gotten hurt. And I was like, and then Jack Jones went down. He came back eventually. But when he went down, I was like, dude, what are we doing? We can't have 5 DBs down in the first 3 weeks of the year. That's not math. You can't do that. But it's not that they've been horrible in coverage. It's not just that. It's that once a running back gets past the linebackers, the support from the secondary in the run game especially is I don't know where they are. Like when Shakir caught his touchdown, he ran like a circle rule. He ran like around Josh Allen and came back in motion. It was obviously man coverage, but once he got to the outside, there was no one there. Like when Kincaid went around the edge, there was just no one there. When Josh is running around the middle of the field, DBs are just falling over themselves. It's like, yes, they're going to break contain. Yes, they can get some yards. They should be forced out of bounds. So a reverse should maybe get you between 3 and 8 yards, second down or whatever. When they turn a corner and they're scoring touchdowns, it's like, well, where's the flow? Where's the safeties at any point on the field? When Josh is just running down the middle of the field, I'm just like, guys are just like, they don't know what's going on. It's so frustrating. And I know we are super undermanned, and we try to play a zone most of the game. Josh is amazing against the zone. So it's like we're in this weird situation where we're not equipped to play man, but he's good against zone. So what do? You just you take an L basically. But even with all that, he didn't throw for a ton of yards, but there were some very like big conversions where, all right, got to get off the field right now, and we couldn't get off the field at some critical points. I will say this part should have been in the good category. I thought the defense overall played pretty solid tonight. Pretty solid. Much better than any other game so far this year. I guess way crazier competition. I thought he played pretty solid. There were some drives of just like, dude, come on. There were some long conversions, some like the way the game ended with the Elijah Moore. Basically, I think it was second and 16 or second and 17. Elijah Moore catches the ball in the middle of the field, and I did not see a secondary dude within 7 yards of him. I don't know where they were because he turned and ran upfield and got another 12 to field. I'm like, where is everybody? It's second and 17. You have to be looking at the route in front of you. There's no way he can catch the ball, turn around, and be like, oh, let me just run. Where was everybody? It's just because we could have gotten the ball back conceivably with a minute 50 left, down a touchdown to go try to tie the game or be bold and go for two and win. But then when you give up a second and 17 conversion, when they're clearly just trying to run the clock out, it just it led to them getting that field goal and then getting a 10-point advantage and kind of winning the game. So that was that. The offensive line, we have problems at tackle, specifically right tackle. The drive that we scored a touchdown to end the first half, I think Joey Bosa won on every single rush he had on that drive. Every time Tua was having to, and honestly, this should have been a good too, probably. In that particular drive, that was as vintage Tua as you get. He navigated the pocket. He got out of there, made a throw and a run. He scrambled, got down, thank God. I was like, get up to him. He got down, like got a big first down. We had a fourth down conversion. Like that was the best, but you can tell Tua doesn't feel comfortable behind his line. You can just see it. There's one play, I want to say third quarter. They started rushing upfield, and Tua literally put his hand on the back of the safety, on the back of the center, and was like he was so just like, keep them away from me. It was almost like I could see him being like, whoa, 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 y'all getting too close. Now on that same play, Malik Washington was in fact open, but it was just like there's too much happening. Like that pocket just kept collapsing. And then when you flip it and you see how comfortable Josh Allen was for most of the game, 90% of the game, Josh Allen it's just so comfortable. And I'm like, yeah, if Tua had that much protection up front, he would be doing major league work. But when it's always like, I got to get the ball out right now, there's a number of times he would just dump the ball to the flat and basically like try to avoid contact. And that just became our de facto route, throw the ball to the flat. But it's not the line situation. I mean, we played like Brunskill today. We played Larry's obviously playing. Like we were rotating offensive linemen. We threw everything. We threw the kitchen sink at him. It's like, hey, one of y'all is gonna do your job today. I don't know who it's gonna be, but one of y'all is gonna work. It wasn't the best thing in the world, but that's not why we lost the game either, I don't think. I think the reason we didn't lose the game is because our attention to detail was just abysmal. This is something that may be a little bit too in the weeds for people who just watch the game. We run a lot of passes that are quick, right? Quick to it turns, boom, get the ball out. For that route to work, there's usually a secondary tight end or wide receiver on the same side of the field, and their job is to make the first block. Obviously, there's two defenders if we have two receivers in the area. Duh. But their job is to get the first block, and then it's the receiver's job to juke or run over the second defender. What I saw consistently is a ball going to the flat and the first defender blowing up the person catching the ball. And I said, hey, what happened on this play? And you see the replay, and you see Alec Ingold, you see Washington, you see Nick, whoever it is running out there to make a block, just late to the block, not good with the block. And I'm like, oh, okay, so you didn't do your job. Because what that registers as is either a basically no yard gain, sometimes negative yards, like with the Jalen Waddle hitch, where he caught the ball and lost 3 yards. And I was like, well, wait a minute, what happened there? Oh, the DB just completely blew up the wide receiver, got in and made a play. And it's a little thing. Because if you just get them out of the frame, the wide receiver can cut inside. You have to choose the side. I'm either going to block them toward the sideline and the receiver cuts inside of me, or I'm going to turn and force them inside and the receiver can go around me. What you can't do is have them just make a beeline to the receiver and you just don't do your job. So frustrating. Then, when it's 21-14, I believe the score was, we force a punt, and Zach Sealer, who I've been asking, hey, is he playing now? Decides, hey, I'm going to go rough the kicker real quick. He's like, actually, it was 21 up when that happened. We're about to get the ball back with a chance to really go take a commanding lead. But I take a lead and then put the ball in a situation where we'll have the lead. They get the ball, but we should get the ball back last to kind of win the game. So as far as the game flow goes, that was a critical moment because you can go up and almost guarantee you'll get the ball back one more time. I get it. You're trying to block the punt. We all get it. You're trying to make a play. But you can't hit the kicker. You can't do it. And it was just like, when it happened, my boy Marvin texted me immediately, wow. And I was like, I don't need to see that right now. Because as soon as I was just like, come on, man. We can't be that. You can't mess those things up. We overcame one crazy mistake on the drive that we scored our 21st point, where we had a RPO to, I want to say Connor, tight end. And Tua faked inside, threw it to tight end. Tight end broke it, got a first down. It's about to be 1st and 10 from the 30. And we was like, oh, and wait, illegal man downfield. And you see Jonah's 7 yards downfield just looking for somebody to block. And I'm like, why is he so far down the field? And then you heard the commentator was like, yeah, that would have been a first down, first and at the 30. Now it's 2nd and 17. I'm just like, now we overcame that, thank goodness. But it's like, a lot of times you don't overcome that. A lot of times you don't, and it just sets you back. And of course, the biggest, what are we doing, is on the last drive of the game that we have basically offensively, where it's 21-28. We're going down to win the game or tie the game. And Tua decides to throw another late game interception. It feels like that's just what's going to happen now. And I thought because of how we ended the first half with the execution, the timing, that we were getting out of the huddle with 9 seconds to go. Like, there was a couple times that we for sure got to 0. And the referees did not call it. I don't know what was going on. They were just like, hey, we want to see a good game. We don't want to keep giving y'all 5-yard penalties. There were a couple times where I'm like, bro, that clock was for sure at 0. That's fine. We're driving the ball on the last possession. And everything it's taking some time, but it's taking time within reason. We're moving the ball. Tua's making good throws. Like, no mistakes. We're like near the red zone. And with Tua through that pick, I put both my hands over my face and said, oh boy, we might have a problem. We might have a problem. Because this is multiple weeks in a row where we've gotten near points and Tua has not seen the coverage. It's different if like he's getting hit, the ball flutters out of his hand, or, I mean, Tua's not tall. If it was a tip ball pick, I'm like, D-tackle made a good play, put his hand up in the air. Or like down the field, a DB just straight mosses our receiver. Again, not every pick is a quarterback's fault. Sometimes receivers don't run a good route. Sometimes if you're like a CeeDee Lamb type, you just won't catch the ball because CeeDee Lamb hates catching passes. And the ball bounces off your hand. Travis Kelce forced a pick on Mahomes because he wouldn't catch the ball. That happens. What Tua's doing is just not seeing guys in coverage. 3 weeks in a row, I don't know what he's looking at. I just don't see, I don't know what he's seeing, and it's too critical to the game. If it's not there for sure, you can't risk it. Either throw it low or throw it over their head and let them play another day. I don't get it. And I think this is where it brings up this conversation. I didn't think we would be here 3 weeks in. Everyone's talking about Coach Benet being on a hot seat. That's obviously true. Chris Greer, I don't see a scenario where he comes back next year, no matter what happens this year. I just think they're just done with that experiment. But is Tua, should he be included in that same conversation? Because we're kind of cap committed to Tua next year, but then after next year, we can get off of Tua's contract with no like cost to us, really. But I didn't think there was a scenario where Tua would be healthy and we just don't play him. And I think we are fast approaching that part where when we get the ball late in games, the fan base is like, oof. Like, as bad as our defense is, I almost am like, I kind of wish our defense was trying to defend the lead than us trying to go score to win the game. And that's not a good place to be. That's not what you want to be as a fan base. When you know your defense is bad and you still think that's a better possibility of winning because we could get a pass rush and maybe get a strip fumble. Or, I mean, picks happen just off bounce off your shoulder pads, whatever. The idea of Tua driving the ball 70 yards, 2 minutes or less, without making a mistake seems unlikely at this point. You're almost doing that thing when remember when Stephen A would talk about the Cowboys, what can go wrong, will go wrong. He would do that whole thing. It feels like if Tua's driving the ball late in the game, you're waiting. When is he going to fumble? When is he going to bobble a snap? When is he going to miss a wide open receiver? When is he going to throw a pick? I can almost from memory think of like 6 different games where I'm like, not like that. And I've been a Tua fan for so long. That's the thing. Like I've been invested in Tua since Alabama before even tanking for Tua was a thing. And I still remember him throwing a game-winning championship pick, game-winning championship touchdown. People forget the play before that he took like a 15-yard sack. The reason they were so far back in the first place is because he took a long sack and then threw the touchdown. So people said, "Oh, what a throw to Devontae, get love." It's like, well, he took a sack and almost took him out of field goal range, and a field goal would have tied it and made a second overtime. He made up for it. But maybe this is kind of in his makeup where he's just going to do something kind of erratic late in games. But it makes it just like we're not built to blow people out. So we're probably going to be in more tight games throughout the year, which means he'll get more chances to avenge what this is. But now this is 2 weeks in a row where it's like, hey, yo, like you've been really good for a long time in the game. Last week, I thought Tua played a prototypical Tua game right up until the end. But now that feels like, is that just part of Tua's thing? He's going to play a good game up to the late fourth quarter, and he's going to break your heart. If that's the case, you can't win with that. You could be 2 types of quarterbacks in this league. You could be amazingly talented, who sometimes makes mistakes. Josh and Lamar don't really make mistakes like that now in a regular season. Josh, early in his career, was crazy erratic. Throwing balls over his head, running like this, going crazy, like getting hit, fumbling, jumping over the piles. Lamar, same way, like do some critical picks, especially in the playoffs. But those guys also make plays where they're throwing off their back foot 60 yards and you get that money. So you basically say, your spectacular plays are here, so we'll take the non-spectacular, right? Or you're the opposite. Complete game manager type, Jared Goff type dude where I can make the throws, I can make the plays, but I typically don't make mistakes. So I can keep the game. Jalen Hurts, good example, for the most part. Sometimes Jalen balls out, but for a lot of times he just keeps the game managed. What you can't be is a game manager who also turns the ball over. And that's what Tua's becoming, and that's what makes me nervous. You can't not give us spectacular, but then also give us mistakes and then keep your job. You can't do both. You are either spectacular with mistakes or unspectacular, but you don't make mistakes. You're either Alex Smith or you're Josh Allen. You don't get to be the person in the middle. You don't get to be Kirk Cousins last year, where you're not making remarkable throws and you're throwing a bunch of picks. It's like, we can't do both. You can't not be mobile and then fumble the ball in the pocket. You can't do both. And Tua's doing all those right now. It's just 3 games in a row with turnovers, critical turnovers. I don't know what we do with this going forward. We have 10 days into the Jets. We know their defense is good. We know they're ball hawks over there. It's something to keep your eye on. I would not be shocked if at some point this year they bench Tua just to see what we have behind him, even though we're committed to him next year, because what are we doing at this point? What are we doing? I went a little long today because I was ranting. So I apologize for the rant, but I hope y'all enjoyed the extra show. Thank y'all for tuning in to Dolphins Daily. We appreciate the love and support. Thank y'all again for the 2K subscribers, man. That's crazy. Very happy to do that. Not happy about the loss today. Happy with the effort, I guess. Moral victory, but that's not really a thing in football. At least I know they haven't given up on the year. Hopefully you don't give up on us, and we'll see you next time on Dolphins Daily. Peace.